Welcome to my quick presentation for the Digital Identity website project. I am Walker Lesney, part of the Digital Identity class here in spring 2022, and here's a quick demo of my site. It is a great site to go ahead and check out in person so that you can see the videos. This recorder is not going to pick up any of the videos, so I'm not even going to try. I already have a website called walkerguy.com, not used for much. I use it for email. So I went ahead and decided to throw my website on here so I wouldn't have to go out and create a new one on Wix or something like that. So as you may have been able to tell by now, my topic is the war in Ukraine. So the Ukraine-Russia conflict has created a great divide amongst their people on social media between all sorts of people trying to promote their own personal views and beliefs. And I believe that's a great topic for digital identity. In one of my earlier projects, I actually kind of touched on this. I don't remember the exact subject, but at the time I thought it was a great piece to kind of touch on, and I still do. So I start off with an introduction video. I pieced together some clips to kind of introduce the topic, and also submitted that as my artifact assignment for last week. And then I go on to start with the digital identity of Ukraine, kind of a little personal story of one of the combat medics working in their army. Kind of a short story about her day-to-day. Tweets promoted by the Ukraine government or by people in support of the Ukraine government. And we've got here a little picto chart of individuals who become refugees as a result. A great deal of them end up in Poland, which was actually touched on in my introduction video. This is over 3 million individuals went to Poland, followed by under 1 million to Romania, just over 500,000 to Russia, ironically, about 500,000 to Hungary, under 500,000 to Moldova, and then about 1/3 of 1 million to Slovakia, and interestingly about 25 individuals to Belarus. Not sure why anyone would want to go there. It's kind of a puppet state of Russia, but anyhow. And you know, we need to see both sides of the coin, so I go on to discuss Russia. You kind of get some pro-Russia articles, speeches by Putin. It is good information to kind of learn and understand what their beliefs are. Why is this an issue to them? And them, I would perhaps say chiefly Putin, but I'm not a political science major, so perhaps there is a wider benefit in mind to the Russian leadership at large to desire to interfere in Ukraine. That's somehow seen as a good thing, perhaps. But you see, Russia Today (RT) is a big state media sponsored journalist outlet, and I think this headline was kind of interesting that they seek Russia's total defeat. Most of their articles, when you go to their site, it's in English because it detects, you know, that I'm American, wasn't using a VPN or anything. And a lot of the articles are actually kind of seem level-headed. I would almost say that most American sites are more extreme sounding. They're just more subtle and discreet with kind of putting a spin on things. You know, they're less in your face, like you know, our far right Fox News or our far left MSNBC would be here in America. You know, we're just blatantly put our bias out in the open. RT and other Russian media is more subtle and devious about how they spout their twist on the news. I've also got, there's no thumbnail for it, but On the President of Russia website, I've got an even longer speech that was released the day of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Um, Honestly, it's subtitled because he's speaking Russian. Haven't watched the thing in its entirety, but I've seen enough to kind of reinforce everything that I've read. You know, basically the whole spin on Russia trying to liberate, the people of the Donbas region and clearing Ukraine of Nazism and supposedly doing good, more or less. Um, and here, on the left side, we've got a tweet from his office as well, basically saying that the Minsk agreement was dead long before Russian recognition of those regions. So Russia recognized additional breakaway regions, after annexing Crimea in 2014. Russia officially acknowledged the sovereignty of other breakaway states, little areas of Ukraine, breaking away from Ukraine and joining Russia. And in that moment, they attacked under the pretense of Ukrainian aggression. So I think there's enough kind of watchdogs out there to kind of tell us that that's nonsense, which is kind of what I go on to say in this next section here, kind of the world/United States view. I could definitely expound on this, like we have this map here of all the purple colored countries are representing nations which have expressed a condemnation of Russia's actions. Basically, they voted the United Nations resolution against Russia. Very few exceptions. I'd say China's a pretty large supporter of them. Some of their former Soviet republics kind of feel obligated to kind of stick it out with them. Iran, Iraq wouldn't condemn them. Pakistan and India wouldn't condemn them. Plenty of African nations not condemning them. What else here? One country in South America. My geography's failing me, don't know who they are, but they don't feel like condemning Russia either. Looks like we got someone in Central America, maybe Cuba, not condemning. So there's, not complete consensus that Russia's in the wrong, but we can clearly see that the number of countries that voted no are limited to, what was that, about 4 countries? Was that South Sudan or something in Africa, Syria, Belarus, and Russia itself? Oh, North Korea. Don't forget them. They're always strong supporters of Russia, right? Interestingly as well, the UN, the Russia's a permanent member of the Security Council, so can't really pass anything in the Security Council in the UN without a unanimous vote. So Russia can always say no or abstain from a vote. But the UN did at least kick them out of the UN Human Rights Council, which is probably the right move considering the sort of strikes Russia's been committing over in Ukraine. Maybe if they spend a little more money on their military, they could at least have precision weapons. I think it's partly no regard for human life and partly their technology is just not as good as they like to claim. They're just some of the time probably accidentally bombing the wrong target just because they're not good. So it's, a lot of bad things all at once. We got some more Twitter posts. I thought this was a very beautiful sort of mural for Ukraine. So we shared this. We've got the U.S. Department of State putting out a nice little tweet here showing, looks, a gathering in D.C. in support of Ukraine. And unfortunately, some statements from the president, one strongly worded one stating that the United States would respond decisively in support of Ukraine. And then unfortunately, we kind of end up with Not listed here, but tweets such as the president touting that we've spent over $3 billion in aid to Ukraine. Wonderful. And that we've been seizing their yachts and luxury homes of the kleptocrats. But I feel that we could be doing a little bit more, maybe a little more direct action. Again, I would highly encourage that you come read this for yourself and check out these videos. If nothing else, I would recommend that you watch the video of the Ukrainian sergeant. My intro video is kind of neat, but if you watched only one video, that one's very interesting. And if you don't want to see a talking head of Putin speaking propaganda, I would understand if you skip these. But it might be interesting just to kind of see the depth of their ideology that he's trying to spout out there and have people believe. One of those addresses is directly to his legislative body as well. I'm not sure how well informed the government officials over there in Russia are. Hopefully they're a little more aware of the truth than the common citizen, and they're not all drinking the Putin Kool-Aid. I think one of the best things that can happen is just a culture shift and the winds of political change in Russia. Like, if they can depose Putin, get rid of Putin, get rid of that whole Soviet macho kind of attitude, trying to restore the Warsaw Pact, get their countries back. It would be great if we could do it that way, and not have to intervene, not have NATO or the U.S. to make some sort of direct military action. But moreover, this is also something that can be kind of fought to some extent in the digital realm, which is why I thought this would be a good social media sort of project. In a way, affecting nations and states through digital identity and social media is a little bit of a pipe dream, but it can at least garner public support. People will make donations. Ukraine will be able to purchase more ammunition or have medical supplies or food shipped in. There are several countries out there that refuse to send direct military aid, either in fear of angering Russia, or maybe they have a pacifist constitution, or their laws prohibit it. There's pretty good support for Ukraine, and if that keeps up and continues, and their people are able to hold out against this invasion, then there might eventually be a positive outcome down the road, and then there will just be a long road to rebuild. And we can be optimistic for that future. Anyhow, thanks for watching my project, and the website you can see this on is walkerguy.com /ukraine.html. If you just go to walkerguy.com, I don't have a link to this, so please visit that link directly. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.